Do take a seat. Now, I believe you want to talk to somebody about a bank loan. And I hope he's going to be quick about this, because I've got to finish those returns to head office before I go home tonight. No, you'll appreciate that as I'm only the securities clerk, I haven't the authority to commit the bank in any way, but if I can help by listening, I'll be happy to.
I gather the manager's away on holiday.
Away, yes, but not on holiday. He's attending a week-long course at our bank staff college.
Well, it's nice to know that even bank managers don't know it all, eh?
It is. Now, what's the problem, Mr. James?
Well, you may know my supermarket. In fact, I suppose you must do, really. It's, I've been banking with you ever since I opened 10 years ago.
Oh, yes, we look upon you as one of our best customers. In fact, I think it was largely for your benefit that we had the night safe installed.
Yes, I did want to apologise for that, for dropping the keys down the chute last week. Actually, it wasn't me, it was one of my girls. It was the first time she used it, you know, and she just thought it was quite all right.
Quite all right, Mr. James, I'm sure can happen to anybody. Now, you're wanting a loan.
Yes, I was coming to that. I've got this marvellous opportunity of buying the shop next door, but I've got to be quick, otherwise it'll go to auction.
Now, you're in two adjoining shops at the moment, aren't you?
That's right, I'm in number 17 and 19, but number 21 has just become available. Because the old boy who ran it as a painter has died, and it's got to be sold to some, well, for some great niece out in New Zealand. Well, if I can get an offer in quick,
Just a minute, Mr. James. The existing premises, do you own those or do you rent them?
I have to rent them. They're owned by some large London property company who will never sell. But number 21 is just what I've been waiting for. You see, it would take my shop right up to the corner of the road there, you see? Then I could put the wines and spirits in number 17 where the customers come in. I could use the new shop at the bottom of the meat counter over there, and I could bring the cash registers over to there, where the old butter.
You're close at last, Mr. James. I can understand why you want to enlarge your premises, and I can see the advantages, but why do you have to buy this shop? Why can't you rent it?
Well, I thought I just made it perfectly clear. The old boy who ran it has died, and his estate all goes to some great niece out in New Zealand. Well, his executive dropped in the other day asking about the mail. And he told me that he would have you put up for sale, and if I was interested, I'd better get an offer in quick and maybe save the cost of the auction.
I see, so you're asking us to lend you the purchase price.
Well, of the whole sum, because I could never repay a loan that big. So I've had a word with my old mother. She's the lieutenant of the family trust fund that comes to me anyway when she dies. She's over 80 now. She's quite happy to see the trust broken. Yes. My solicitor reckons I should get about £30,000 out of it after taxes and expenses on it.
I see. Now, this £30,000, this would be yours, would it, to put into the business long term?
Yes, that's so precise.
So, how much would you need to borrow from us?
Well, my surveyor reckons the shop is worth about 75,000, so I would need at least 45,000 for the purchase price.
Plus the legal costs of purchase?
Yes, I suppose I ought to allow a couple of thousand for those.
At least, it will be 1,500 for stamp duty alone. I think we ought to say 3,000. That will include the surveyor and the searches and all the other legal items. Now, what about alterations to the properties? You obviously need to join them both up. That sounds like a lot of work for the builder.
Not so much as I first thought, you see, because we can keep the same shop front and just change the fascia name board. The doors are in the right place, and the exit doors. And, well, I mean, we can just worry too much about the walls because the new shop fittings will hide those. I reckon about £2,000 should be enough for the builder, but that does include some plumbing and electrical installation work.
2,000. Now, these new shop fittings that you mentioned, how much have you allowed for that?
Well, some of those will have to be freezing units and refrigerated display units, so I reckon about £6,000 to cover that.
6,000. Gives us an all-round figure of what? £56,000.
Yes, give or take about it.
Does he think we're some fairy godmother? Do you have any up-to-date accounts, Mr. James?
Yes, I thought you might ask for those, so I got my auditor to get a move on with this current year's figures. You've also got the last 2 years in, so you've got 3 years in all.
See, thank you. Oh, hell. Why couldn't Couldn't you have put it off until the manager comes back next week? Accounts were never my strong point. I see your turnover's been rising steadily.
Yes, I suppose it was the bus that did that. I suppose you'll see my bus. Of course, it's not really my own bus, but it's amazing how many people think it's my own private bus. It still belongs to the corporation, of course.
Oh yes, is it that big thing double-decker with, what is it, James for a choice in cheese?
Yes, that's the one, yes. But I took a little bus advert with the corporation. That's where they picked the bus with your entire advert, you see, yes. Yes, signwriting must have cost them a fortune, but corporation paid for that. Actually, it was the painting that made me sign a 3-year contract.
I'm sorry, I don't follow.
Well, you see, when you had it, they painted in your colours first, and then they have to repaint.
What the hell are we doing now, talking about painting buses? I'll never get the return head office finished.
Yes. So they gave me a choice. Either pay 6,000 for 1 year or 12,000 for 3 years. Well, I reckon it was a bargain to have 3 times as long for only twice as much money. So I opted for the 3-year contract at 4,000 a year.
And has it done you any good?
Oh yes, I think so. I think it got my turnover up a bit. The best bit was when well, during the first week I went over to see how the signwriting was coming along. I managed to get the contract to supply the groceries to the bus garage canteen. Of course, that's all in the past now. I saw they were repainting it back to the normal colour only yesterday.
I see your gross profit percentage has dropped over the last 3 years.
Oh yes, I expected that. I had to get in amongst the price cutters to get the extra business, you understand. Well, that was part of my slogan on the bus. James is cheaper. James full of choice in cheeses.
This gets worse. He hardly makes any profit. He couldn't pay the interest on a 56,000 loan, let alone any capital repayments. The manager will turn this down flat. We still don't like to see a business with falling profit margins, though, Mr. James. The truth of the matter is, you don't really make much profit, do you?
Well, that's why I need the extra shop, you see. Then I can have more stock. The more stock I have, the more stock I can sell. The more profit I'll make.
Stock. More stock. You've made no provision for more stock than this figure of 56,000.
We don't have to. The creditors will take care of that. You see, they're quite happy to put the stock in and let me sell it before I pay them for it. In fact, I thought I might be able to cover some of the £56,000 that way. Then I wouldn't have to ask your people for so much money. That would save me quite a bit of interest.
Mr. James, I think it's very dangerous to scrounge money from your suppliers and tie it up in fixed assets. No, I think if you're going to buy this shop, you've got to borrow all of the money legitimately.
Well, it was only an idea.
You see, what worries me is that you really can't afford to borrow this money. We look at the basic figure of £56,000. It's an interest rate of 17%. That comes out at what? £9,000. Now that's more than your profits. The bank would be gambling on you getting rising profits in order to see any chance of us getting our money back. I mean, look at the figures yourself. How are you going to afford £9,000 plus capital repayments? Even if we took the capital repayments over, say, 10 years, that would work out to be, minimum £5,000. And they're not allowable against tax. Where's it going to come from? It simply isn't there.
Well, can't I use my depreciation for this?
Good heavens, Mr. James, what do you mean? You spent that money once on all the shop fittings. You can't spend it again. The depreciation is getting rid of the old fittings. You've got to find the cash for the new fittings. I don't suppose the directors would be prepared to take a cut in their remuneration. That would help the position.
No, we can't afford to pay a cut in salary. There's only myself and my wife as directors, and when you consider the hours we work, I think our staff are getting better paid than we are.
I never did understand what balance sheets were all about. Now, is this good or bad? Weak or strong? I've got to say something. Well, there's no way we're going to lend him 56,000, so I may as well blame it on his account. There are a couple of weak spots in your balance sheet too, Mr. James.
Weak spots?
Hmm.
My accountant always said it was a good balance sheet.
Well, he would, wouldn't he? He sold it to you. And probably overcharged you for it as well. Your current ratio is all wrong.
What's my current ratio?
Well, it's the ratio of your current assets to your current liabilities. It should be something like 1.5, and it's less than 1. You can see for yourself. In your case, it's always been less than 1.
What does it mean? I mean, why is it wrong? Business runs all right.
Well, it's a bit difficult to explain, Mr. James, but at the end of the day, it works out that unless your current ratio is something like 1.5, then you're heading for a lot of trouble.
Well, how do I make it 1.5?
Well, you put some money into a bank deposit for a start. That would improve the situation.
It might help you, it would do me, actually, would it?
Well, it would mean that you're borrowing much less from us in order to buy your new shop.
Look, I'm bringing in that £30,000 for my mother's trust fund. I mean, if I was to put that on a deposit account with you a few days before I completed the purchase price transaction, would that do you?
Oh, I've got a clever one here. Where did I go wrong? No, that wouldn't do at all.
Why not?
Because it wouldn't appear in the balance sheet. You've just had your new balance sheet paid. By the time you get the next one, it'll have disappeared.
So that'll change the balance sheet, did?
No, I'm afraid that's quite impossible, Mr. James. Look, I really am very sorry, Mr. James, but I just don't see how we can help you. You're trying to borrow too much and you simply can't afford it.
If I don't expand, I'll never make more profits. And if I don't get that shop next door, I'll never expand.
I really am very sorry, Mr. James, but I just don't see how we can back you this man.
You mean you won't? 10 years I've been banking with you. In that time I must bring about £4 million into this bank. And you won't let me under this rule 56,000 quid. All right? I'll take my business elsewhere.
Look, I really am very sorry, Mr. James, but you must understand our position.
Good afternoon, Mr. James. Can I help you?
Is the manager available? I'd like to ask you about a loan.
Oh, I'm sorry, he's not in this week. He'll be back on Monday. Would you like to make an appointment to see him then?
Yes, it could be soon enough. Yes. Could you make it afternoon on Monday?
Would 3 o'clock suit you?
Yes, that's fine.
Fine. If you have any accounts or papers with you, would you like to leave them in now? Mr. Moyes likes to be prepared on these matters.
Yes. Just a minute. Come on, it's business. Indeed, you, 3 o'clock on Monday.
Fine, thank you.
Nice to see you again, Mr. Jameson. Take a seat.
Thank you. Must be well over a year since the last one.
Yes, unfortunately, these difficult times, I have to spend a lot of time with customers who are having trading problems. But it's nice to meet a customer who, judging from our figures and your own audited accounts, has had such a good year.
You've been through the accounts.
Yes, figures make much more interesting reading. And in your case, tell a very cheerful story.
Oh, well, my accountant said it was a good year, but I thought he was just chatting me up for increasing his fees. What I wanted to ask you about was the possibility of the bank letting me some money in.
Well, that's what we're here for. Tell me what it's all about.
Well, as you know, I'm number 17 and 19 across the road, but number 21 has just become available. Because the old boy who owned it has died, and his estate all goes to some great niece out in New Zealand. Well, his executive talked to him the other day, asking about the mail. He told me the shop had an auction. If I go in there quick, if I was interested, I could possibly save the cost of the auction.
So you thought that although you prefer to rent it, there's no chance of it. And if you're going to expand into the third shop, you've got to buy it. Presumably we're talking about your company.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, have you thought about planning permission? You're proposing to change a paint shop into a supermarket.
Well, I've had a word with my surveyor. He's talked to the chief planning officer of the town hall, and there's no problem on that point.
Good. So what sort of price would the executors want?
Well, my surveyor reckons it's worth about £75,000. That's the top price he can get.
Yeah? And that's a bit more than we want to go to.
Well, I knew you'd expect me to make some contribution, so I had a word with my own mother. She's over 80 now. She's the right hand of the family trust fund that comes to me when she dies. She's quite happy to see the trust broken now. I think she might buy an annuity with her part. My solicitor reckons I should get about 30,000 out of it, after taxes and expenses, I think.
And that would be your own money and interest free?
Yes, that's right. Well, I've never had any income from it in the past, so I'm not likely to miss it in the future.
If the bank were able to help you with the rest of the purchase price, you'd be willing to give us a first mortgage on the title?
Oh, yes, of course.
Right, well, we're talking of a balance of £45,000 for premises, plus say £3,000 for legal fees, survey, stamp duty and everything else. And of course you'll want to join it with your existing shops. Any idea what that might cost?
Well, the doors are in the right place and the floor seem level with mine, so it's mainly a matter of knocking out the dividing wall and fitting the new fascia board, you see. Well, there's some plumbing work and electrical work to be done, but I think £2,000 should cover that.
And what about shop fittings? Presumably you want to match it in with your existing equipment. That could set you back a bit.
Yes, I had a quote from the shop fitters. It was going to shop it for £6,000. But that does include some freezer units and refrigerated display units.
So that's £56,000 we'd be looking for.
Yes, give or take 1,000, I suppose that's right.
And with interest at 17% today, that would be nearly £9,000 we'd be charging you in the first year just for the interest alone. Then there'd be capital repayments on top of that. Now, this last year was your best year ever, and your profit wasn't even 8,000.
Does that mean you're saying no?
No, not yet. Don't let's be too hasty. We don't judge a business on a single figure of profit. There's much more to it than that. Let's look at your profit and loss accounts carefully. Now, some things here I'd like to understand a little better. Yes, here we are. This one here, bus advertising. What was that?
Oh yes, I took a whole bus advertisement. That's when you have the bus painted up in your own colour. They quoted me £6,000 in 1 year or £12,000 spread over 3 years. Well, I reckon it was a bargain to have 3 times as long for only twice as much money, so I opted for the 3-year contract at £4,000 a year.
It's nice to see those 3 years an hour.
Yes, they've already repaid me. Didn't give me a week over time.
So you've lost your pink bus then?
Yes, please, sir.
Well, that may be the town's game. I must confess I never did enjoy looking out of that window when the pink monster went by saying J's for a choice in cheese. That's good.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's offended you anyway.
Oh, no, when I said that's good, I meant it helped these figures. Presumably you had the benefit of the advertising, so next year, instead of making a profit of £7,823 after paying £4,000 plus advertising, you could be looking forward to making at least £11,823.
Oh yes, I suppose I could.
Well, did it bring you extra business? Do you think it paid off?
I think so, yes. Yes, I mean, without a doubt. I mean, the first week, going over to see how the painting of the bus was coming along, I managed to get a contract to supply the canteen over there, the bus garage canteen, with groceries. Of course, prices have to be keen. I had to give them a month's credit. But I'll never have a bad debt with a corporation.
So all the debtors in your balance sheet are the corporation then?
Well, they're the only ones I give a monthly account to. There's 1 or 2 private hotels I give a weekly account, but everybody else pays cash.
Cash? Haven't we signed you for the bank's credit card then?
Well, your people try, but I can't afford to pay the bank 4% commission on credit card sales.
Well, we'll have to talk about credit cards again at a later date. Presumably you've noticed that most of the big stores have got their own in-house schemes, and we do seem to be moving towards America, towards a cashless society. However, looking at your trading accounts for the last 3 years, I see that although the turnover has risen nicely, thanks to Pink Bus perhaps, your gross profit margin is sagging a little. Any comments?
Oh yes, I expected that. I mean, that was part of my strategy when I took the bus out of register. I mean, if you've got to run a supermarket, you've got to pilot high, sell it cheap. To get the volume, you've got to shave the margins. Well, I mean, the bus garage canteen was case in point there. I knocked off 10% of the price of what they were paying their previous supplier. He generally left me with a 5% margin, but over a year that works out quite a lot of money.
Do you see your profit margins going any lower? I mean, 13.3% is a very fine margin for any grocer. Break 187 and you're selling at a loss.
Yes, that's what I keep on telling my girl. 13 and 14% in the future.
Well, cutting margin seems to have paid off in your case. In 3 years, you've got your amount of your gross profit up from 66,000 to 78,000. It's no mean achievement. But what concerns me a little is, where do you go from here? If you're going to add, say, 50% to your shop floor area, you're going to need more customers. Now, you've stopped advertising. How do you get them?
Oh, that's the easiest part of all. That's why I need the extra shop. Well, you've seen this new office block along the road. Well, they've already started putting the partitioning in. I reckon in a very short time the office staff will be moving there. In fact, I think within 3 months there's going to be about 500 office staff in that office. Now, a third of these are going to be married women who want to do their shopping in the lunch hour. Well, the only other supermarket is over a mile away, on the London Road. So I don't need to advertise if I don't want to say pavement. What I do need is the space to serve.
Well, I must give you credit for thinking this operation through, Mr. James. But the idea of the new shop is to make extra profit. Now, let's put that on one side for the moment and see if you could afford to buy it on the level of last year's profits. Now, call that 8,000 for a start, plus 4,000 for the bus advert that won't recur. That's £12,000. Now, that would be enough to cover the interest on £56,000 if necessary. And of course, depreciation doesn't really cost you anything.
I never did understand what depreciation meant.
Well, you're not alone in that. It's simply recognising that fixed assets don't last forever. You pay for them when you bought them, so the depreciation doesn't really cost you any cash each year. In terms of what we call cash flow, that 3,150 is as much fresh cash as the profit. So what we're really talking about is an expected cash flow next year of over £15,000. Now that's enough to pay the interest and the capital repayments on £56,000.
So you will lend me the money, aren't you?
Well, just a minute. There are things that can go the other way. Take your rent on the existing premises, for example. When does your lease expire and when does your next rent review come round?
Oh, I'm lucky there. I took a very old lease that was drawn up with 7-year rent reviews with a norm. I've got 17 years to run on the lease and just over 3.5 years before I need to worry about a rent review.
Good. Then let's have a look at your balance sheet again. You know, the fascinating thing about supermarkets is the way they manage without any working capital.
What?
In other words, your current assets are invariably less than your current liabilities.
What's all about that?
So many businesses have to finance their customers and pay their suppliers promptly. Ties up an awful lot of cash. In your case, you sell mainly for cash and get a clear month's credit from your suppliers. In other words, you turned your purchases into cash before the suppliers want their money.
That can't be bad.
No. But there are a lot of people who think that because a business hasn't got any working capital, it can't be a good one. The real test is, does it work? In your case, it works very well. You want to thank your lucky stars, you don't have to give your customers credit. Selling for cash is always nice. I was with my son while I was having lunch, and I'll show you what I mean. Now, you turn your stock over in some 21 to 23 days.
I do better than that. I mean, bread and cakes fresh every day, so isn't it?
Yes, well, I'm talking in averages, of course. I mean, possibly you can keep your washing powder for months, but on an average you go through in some 21 days. Now, the stock at this last day looks a little higher. Now, why was that? Is that something different, or is the pattern changing?
I noticed that. Well, I think my wholesaler must have been short of cash to pay his tax bill. So he made this offer on jars of coffee and I took everything he got. Well, I had to pay spot cash, but it'll give me a 7% gross margin on that. I mean, coffee keeps all right in jars anyway. I had to pay 4,000 quid, but I got the cash. He needed it.
Well, that's very good. That's one of the values of having some spare cash behind you. But I'm wondering if you haven't got too much spare cash. See, over the last 3 years, you've paid your suppliers in an average of, say, 47 days, roughly a month and a half after their deliveries. Now, presumably that's your normal trading.
Well, yes, I mean, they seldom offer any discount for early payment, so they get paid when it's due, not a day earlier.
Well, that's good business. But it does mean because you're banking with us every day that you're beginning to pile up the credit balance. And we don't object to that, in fact we like it. And it does mean that we don't charge you any bank charges worth talking about. But I'm wondering if you couldn't use some of that money to buy your shop with. Now, you've got £16,000 in credit in your current account today. You could use some of that. You need only borrow £40,000 from us, and you've got the money to buy your shop with.
That sounds all right, but I mean, what happens at the end of the month when I come to pay my suppliers? I mean, that's what we're there, wouldn't it?
Well, we can arrange arranged to give you a £10,000 overdraft on your current account. Well, that should be enough, but you can have more if necessary. It means that you only pay interest when you're actually using the overdraft. That is the end of one month to about the 10th of the following month. Now, by then, of course, you should have paid in enough to put the bank balance into credit again. Using an overdraft that way only costs you half the interest charges on a loan account of the same amount.
Well, that sounds fine by me.
Now, to come to the real problem of buying the new premises. We're going to need some sort of valuation of the premises. Perhaps you get your surveyor to get us something in writing pretty quickly.
Yes, I'll get on to him later today.
And ask him to confirm that matter of the planning consent when he writes to us. And we'll need your personal undertaking that you will bring those £30,000 trust fund into the company and that you will defer any repayments of those trust funds to yourself until after the bank loan has been repaid.
Agreed.
And as I mentioned earlier, we will need a first mortgage on the new premises.
Fair enough.
You might think it worthwhile having a chat with some of our insurance specialists in the next week or two.
What do you mean about the fire insurance on the new shop?
No, that's the easy bit. No, what was going through my mind was you might like to think of some pension scheme for yourself. It's a way of saving tax. Because effectively, the Inland Revenue treats all your contributions as being allowance for tax. I've got a leaflet here. Perhaps you'd like to look at it at your leisure. But on retirement, you can take out a large slice of the fund as a tax-free lump sum. And we could, in part, use that as a way of repaying the bank loan. However, take it.
Thank you so much. Alrighty, as Miguel stated, we are going to go into the part of the course that deals with interviews, but kind of a segue between the two of them. The first module would be on what? What would they have taught you in the first module?
Oh, yeah, the KYC.
The KYC, right? Just the KYC information, so y'all would not have gone over any accounting.
We did a clothing, broke down the clothing store.
Right.
Right.
So y'all went over things like the ratios and all that kind of stuff. All right, so that's where we'll start, kind of just a segue between the two. No more light switches around. I guess not. Yeah. And from the listing, everybody here is a banker? No. Something like you were a banker. Corporate. Okay, so everybody here deals with customers on a daily basis? Who doesn't deal with customers on a daily basis? All right. So this is your first time, this your first, I guess, finance course?
No.
No, okay. So y'all pretty much have finance down by first degree, more or less. There you go. All right, good. So we're gonna deal with it from that aspect. So from the first day, you have James DeGrosse who came in trying to seek a loan. You have two different interview scenarios. From your first, before we go into the interview skills and all of that, what would you note about the two interviews? How can you compare, contrast between the two?
The second one had more solutions to this problem. First guy obviously didn't know what he was doing.
guessing.
Yeah.
Right. And he was trying to guess along the way.
Yeah.
Right?
He wasn't
Get them
really
out as fast
listening.
as possible.
Right. So from your, let's just look at cursory from just looking at his trading and profit and loss accounts. We understand that he needs $56,000. Looking at his, and he needs, well, let's go over, let's look at the case study. Case study, James DeGrosse. says James DeRosa wishes to expand his retail supermarket business by acquiring the premises next door with a flat attached, or with an apartment attached. The cost of the new premises will be $75,000, and obviously this is in the Bahamas, and obviously this is in today. And Mr. James is requesting a loan of $45,000 from his bank. However, it is anticipated that extra costs, including legal, building, and truck fittings, will amount to $11,000. So in total, he needs the $56,000. What is your view on this request, given an interest rate of 17%? Is it too high, too low?
The rate is high.
Yeah, that
The rate is high?
Yeah,
Seems actually
because the
comical.
interest alone was like, what, $9,000?
Right.
Plus they will hold the mortgage.
Yeah,
Well, let's say
first-
one- right.
They want a first mortgage.
So they want a first mortgage on the property, but is it justifiable, the 17%? No.
No, it's a consumer loan.
Pardon? Consumer loan,
That's a
right?
consumer loan.
But what goes into the thought process behind the bank and interest rates? Everybody knows what an interest rate is, right? In terms of the essentially how they calculate their risk.
Yeah.
So when you look at how they calculate the risk, is the 17% still unreasonable?
I think it's unreasonable.
All right, let's go.
Because then they're trying to hold the premises as well.
Right, they're trying to hold the premises.
If I get off the premises.
But he has a grocery store, so it's not guaranteed, so I guess it go up on.
Yeah, the businesses.
Yeah,
More high risk.
the type of business he's in.
Yeah, but everybody eats, eh?
Yeah, but I mean, they don't go to his store.
They don't have to go to his store. What other thing would you put into consideration when you're thinking about offering this loan? If you can, and what on your trading and profit and loss account can tell you, because it's over a 3-year period. Normally when you come to the bank, you need a 3-year kind of synopsis on how your business is doing. What factors in this trading and profit and loss account, from your understanding of the ratios and all of that, what would you say essentially, what would you consider?
Yes, profit margin.
Let's look at the profit. So the gross profit 2 years ago, 66,000. Let me see. Am I looking at the right thing? Are you looking at the retained profit or?
Yeah, gross, the profit margin.
Profit
Right.
margin.
This profit margin, which is 14.8 in the first year, went down to 14.1 to 13.3. What is that telling you?
This business getting more costly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. So persons will normally just look at and that's the danger of just looking at the sales.
Yeah.
Because your sales can be good, but if your costs are going up,
Yeah.
what else would you consider?
But like they said, the $4,000, the bus thing, the bus advertising,
Mhm.
that is going to go away after this year.
Mm.
And then also, I look at the director's remuneration, that's going up. I mean,
What is
9,000,
Yeah, but that's why he said it's going up, that's why.
director for
Exactly.
okay, exactly.
You may want to talk to them about that.
Right. So is the director's remuneration their salary then, more or less?
Well, they have
salary.
I don't know.
Or they have salaries?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to know if is there money in there, but even so, we're looking at 15%
Mhm.
increase,
Right.
at least,
Year over year,
year over year.
right? What else would you consider that they can cut? Or can adjust?
They spoke about his traveling expenses, his fancy hotels and all that.
Because when you look at it, right, you are a grocer.
Yeah.
You run a petty shop, a food store, a food store. What traveling expenses?
You have.
He's probably, you know what?
Have maybe more and traveling expenses that may be it.
He's probably making this mistake of some people who own businesses of charging his vacation to the
Mhm.
store
Right.
rather than paying himself a salary.
Yeah, exactly.
And his,
So-
his vacation money should come out of his salary.
The cost of my work, my hard work, and my thinking, I need to take to the business because this is business expense.
Mm.
But if you, for example, you own a store,
Right.
your vacation has no tie into the store. Your vacation doesn't bring any value
Mhm.
to the store.
Mhm.
So you should charge your vacation out of your salary, not to the store.
What else do you note?
Can I find out energy saving lights?
Heating and lighting going up, yep, by $1,000, almost $1,000 over 2 years.
And the postage too. How much it cost to send
$917 to call and to post, to send mail. So you have rent, and then you have rent and water.
Right.
Yeah, right. So what, do you think that's his house rent? That would be his house rent.
Yeah.
But then
But that may go away with the flat attached to the.
You think that he's gonna live in the flat, or you think he's gonna rent the flat out? I guess we can, that could be a question that we ask.
So then if he rents it, then that's income.
Yeah, that's income.
But along with that income, what else goes up?
Utilities.
Not even the cost of maintenance,
Yeah.
because you're not a landlord.
Right.
So you can, when you ask him if are you gonna live in it, okay, you have maintenance, but it won't be as high as if you're a landlord. I mean, if you're renting it out to somebody else, but chance you may buy it to resell. All right. What other thing would you consider? You consider that the sales are pretty good. You almost $600,000, but your cost of goods sold.
Yeah, it's going up.
But he said he took a margin cut, so.
Yeah,
he has to consider that.
he said he dropped his prices.
He dropped his prices. So you drop your prices. So that obviously means what? Nobody's coming in there. So that's going to put a red flag up that if you have to drop your prices over staple, which is food, it ain't like you have no luxury item. This is basic food. If you have to drop your price, that means that there's a presence of competition somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And so you have to factor all of that in when you are considering giving him this loan. So how many percent you will give him a loan?
Speaking with him and think if he can cut some of the costs and everything, just based on the conversation with the second interviewer,
Yeah.
I think it sounds much more promising.
Which
The
bank
first
is this?
interviewer was
Which bank do you work at?
Well, if you wanted to pay me
BOB. Wait. You work where?
Picture Bank in July.
Picton. Okay.
But then too, he really to me don't have a plan for what he's going to do with his
Right.
expansion.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
he's
So he just wants to buy it because it's
Yeah,
for sale.
it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he thinks by buying it and having a bigger store, people
Right.
are gonna automatically come in.
Yeah.
But I like his idea about 500 people coming there to
Yeah.
work. He said they're building something and 500 new people coming there to work. The next grocery store is a mile away. And he said he figure there's gonna be a lot of mothers and stuff there. So the traffic in his store would go up.
But I still have to know you're there.
Guarantee, but he's okay.
You just don't look up.
Yeah, you say you want to put the
Yeah.
inside.
We're not liquor always. Look at it.
Exactly.
Good times to sell, bad times to sell. Look at this liquor. You know. All right. So let's turn over. Look at the balance sheet. We know that the leasehold is the same, so it's good that his leasehold is $21.50 year over year. What do you understand about goodwill?
Charity.
Pardon?
Yeah, that's good.
Right, so more or less reputational risk. Your reputation. There's 20 grand. Pardon? Let's look. Let's look at his depreciation. Over 2 years, his stuff depreciated by two times. Let me put it like that. So 2 years ago it was 4,300. The year ago is 6,450. Now your shop fittings have depreciated $8,600. So you have to soon start looking at renovations. So that's a cost that we didn't factor in.
Yeah.
Right? So with this new building that he is building, he has to factor in too that some of that money have to go to what? Renovations of his old property. Right? So you have all of that to consider. His stock, the value of his stock grew by $11,000. Look at his debtors. Either he's been going to the bank or he's been giving a lot of his. Let me see.
You know, that's an asset.
Like credit.
He give it a credit as a way to get business.
Yeah.
So he's first of all he cut his prices, and when he don't cut the price on, he's giving away.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. So we see where we can help him, but look at the cash in the bank.
That's going up.
6,900
Yeah.
to 15 to 22. What would you, when you see that he is now stocking up his cash, what would you advise him to do with that?
Pay off some debt.
Pay off
As
some
a so, but wouldn't he need liquid cash somewhere?
He would need some, but I mean,
He can use some of it.
But that ain't a lot anyway, for a grocery store.
22 grand.
I don't know.
Look at the creditors.
It's a small store.
His creditors are $66,000.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Accrued expenses.
Now we know why.
His corporation tax is going up as well. So he has 15,000 shares at $1 each, retained profits. At least he is retaining his profits year over year. So he has about 20,900 to reinvest if he needs to. Okay? So we'll go over this. Let me see. So okay, let's just put it down for 1 second. If you have a client comes into your establishment, what's the first thing that you find out? What they're looking for, their purpose, what they need to do, and then you do what?
Review. Look at what information they have.
Information.
Ask information. So this is part of where you KYC, you know your customer, because they can come in there thinking that they need one thing, but they actually need something else. All right. So let's look at the interview skills. What else did you notice about the first interviewer? Apart from the questions she was asking, in terms of the financial part, what other soft skills kind of hit the do's and don'ts that you would have noticed from him?
He wasn't professional, he wasn't interested.
He wasn't professional?
Yeah, because he told him when he first came in, well, I think he said he had something else.
Yeah,
to
some
do.
kind of report to do.
Yeah.
First of all, that is in his role.
Right,
That he only filling in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made it known that.
I only hold
yeah.
this a lot. I only hold this spot. But, and so I really ain't gonna be here.
Yeah.
And then you come here and you look and you don't know what you want. So we have all of these things that we have to consider when we are considering interviewing. Because as a CFP, your first role is not just to sell a product. Your first role is to find out the needs of the person that you have. When you do an assessment, then you can know how to direct it. So for instance, the second thing, I'm not sure even if he got the loan. Did he get the loan in the second scenario?
Well, he was
Guide him to something else.
Yeah, and then he can
Yeah.
borrow less if he used some of his cash. They could give him a credit
Or
line.
overdraft,
all of
yeah.
that.
And that's how it
Exactly.
sounded good too,
Because
the cash coming in.
he was heading to, even if he didn't get it, he may have told him in 6 months. Because it may have been easier for him to understand if he said, in 6 months' time, let's come back, let's
Yeah.
review and do that. You wouldn't leave as irate as you did with the first one.
Yeah.
So your no can be a little softer if you know how to interview properly. And when also when you know how to interview properly, you will not sell everything out of your offer, cut your prices at very low just to try to keep a client. If you would have to explain to your client or explain to the person coming in, this is where we stand, this is what we need. We often see now the problem with communication, with the whole VAT situation that just went on, right? We had a situation where you have some person say, this is what we need to do, this is why we need to do it. But the way that it's communicated caused a whole ruckus. So communication is really is one of your key skills. So beyond the number, because you can work the numbers behind the scenes, when that person is in front of you, you need to know how to interview and how to pick up on soft skills. And you really need to know how to use your emotional intelligence to kind of win them over to you. All right, so let's look at module 2. We're going to start there with credit and client relationship skills. We're going to go half now, half next week. And then, as Miguel would have said in the last class, you have a 5-minute presentation on anything you want to talk about. Yeah. So you can choose between now and next week which you're going to talk about, and then we'll kind of see how that goes. So you have to be comfortable in front of the camera. It'll be recorded, so you have 2 weeks to get your hair straightened, your makeup straightened, all that kind of stuff. All right? Good. Good stuff. So, let's go. How many persons here work in a financial institution again? Good. How many persons in here married? I'm sure it is like
Was.
okay, I got you. How many persons here are comfortable with their job, can see themselves retiring right where they are? So, how many persons in here are dating? What is the room? Just the room just got quiet. A cold breeze just blew. The point I'm trying to get to is this: you will need interview skills. In any of those situations, you'll need to know how to master being an interviewer, how to master reading people, how to master reading the room, how to master taking the room. Anybody in Toastmaster? Good. All right, cool. So let's just push, because by the end of this week, but it is my job that by the 3rd week, you'll be so comfortable you could just take over a room and do what you gotta do. All right? Because the truth of the matter is too that how many persons here went into a job, they were not planning to buy anything, but the salesperson caused them to buy it. You didn't even know how you buy it. You went in there making up your mind, I ain't buying nothing. I ain't coming in here, and when you leave, you can leave with 2 bags. You understand? All right? Or you go or you go into a bank or something or wherever, and you go with one thing in mind. When you look at it, you have all these various things that you didn't, like I went for insurance the other day. I don't know how I ended up signing up for pension, signing up for all these kind of things, but that's the power of a good interviewer. All right? So let's help us all with negotiation and selling skills. All right? So most involvements with a customer involve us in negotiation. We have products. So when you talk about negotiation, you have on one side products and services. The other side, you have the customer. Now to get the customer to purchase your products and services, there's a price. The thing about it is that the way that you get paid is that your company must make a profit. So that means that you can't be like James the Grocer and undercut the price on everything. So the way that you get them to buy the product at the price is that you have to be able to sell the product. So the first thing you have to do is you have to actually believe that the product is worth what it is being sold for. That's the first thing. You have to, as a seller, you have to be confident enough to know that the customer now unless you have know-how at all, you have to know that what you're selling to the customer is worth being sold. Anybody in here has ever been part of multi-level marketing before? Amway, Avon, you should be here. The travel,
World
Ventures, that kind of stuff. This is stuff that they kind of, the price, by the time they finish selling it to you, you forget how much the price is. You just want to go and buy it, you know? And so you have to learn how to know that everything has a price, and so you don't have to negotiate. The key with negotiation is that it's a two-way process where we are seeking the best possible outcome. So every involvement is a trade-off between our aspirations and the retention of your customer's business. You can stop me anytime and ask questions. All right? So usually we are more interested in a long-term customer relationship than with any one particular deal. So when you are a CFP, the main thrust behind you as a CFP and the longevity of your career is relationship. There are some people in here, there are some that may not be in here, some people in here would still go ahead and you would buy, give me something that's expensive to do now.
Yeah, travel.
You would go to your travel agency, even though you go to Expedia and book online, you would go to your travel agency. Why? Because you'll have good relationship.
Service.
It's about relationship. The thing about banks is that they don't really tell you this, right? But a lot of the banks really, their fees are the same. More or less, right? Fees are the same. But why do you around it? RBC really, y'all don't even get no fight with fees, right? But fees are basically the same, right? But $1, $2, $3. Yeah. It isn't like one is charging 10, well, never mind. One is charging 20, and one is charging 1, and then it's a no-brainer. No, they're pretty much almost the same. You go to gas stations. The gas pretty much is the same. You go there because you have relationship. Not really that Shell is much better than Esso or Esso is much better than Rubis. You pretty much go there because now,
It's the same gas.
a couple of years ago, Shell had the situation with the water, and you know, and so that's why also when you are talking about being a salesperson, you also have to protect your company's what they call reputational risk, because I be recorded, so I can't even say it. Because one thing, the one thing that messes a company up is their reputational risk, and the reputational risk is often messed up by people on the front line, what they call the first line of defense. Your first line of defense, or your people, or your salespeople, can mess up a whole business. That's why it's important that you learn how to master negotiation skills. We must remember that whilst we are selling and negotiating against competitors, most customers also value the ongoing relationship that they have with us. They are always going to be reluctant to sever that connection unless our demands are really unreasonable. So unless, like I say, from 20 to 1, it'll be hard. You have some people today who are at RBC. Savings are 0.5%, but they ain't moving their money from RBC. They ain't moving it. Why? Because of relationship. And what we have to learn in these kind of times is that when the market is like it is, and the market is soft like it is, what's really going to keep your customer base is your relationship. The mere fact that one company takes 5 rings to answer the phone to 1, I'll move my account. The mere fact that if I tell you I cannot come in, and you come from your desk and you bring the papers to me to sign, that'll cause me to stay with your company. Relationships are what is what people would stay in. Let me see how I can put this, because I always got to remember the camera roll, okay? People, relationship matters. That's the point that we're trying to make, okay? So even as a negotiator, even as a person who is selling a product, you have to be able to hold on to your integrity when selling your product, because at the end of the day, the customer is not really concerned about the product as much as they need to know, whenever I have an issue, I can pick up the phone and call my banker. I can pick up the phone, call my insurance agent. I can pick up the phone and you can't have this mindset that when you already sold your loan or you sold your product, that you are now disconnected from your client. And that's the issue that a lot of CFPs, bankers, insurance agents run in. Now, you can't find them when you need them, but the second that you miss a payment, they can find you, right? The second your insurance agent, you may take you long to pay your claim. I mean, they may to pay you your claim, but you miss one payment. They calling you. I can show up to your job. I can show up to your desk. I can bring whatever you need. All right. So you have to understand that as a CFP, as a person who is selling these products, you have to maintain relationship. So let's go. Negotiation requires a thorough knowledge of our own products and services and those of our competitors. That's what we don't realize. When you are working at a particular institution, you have to know what all of your competitors are making. You have to know who are your competitors. You work at Pictet. Who are your competitors?
All the other offshore private banks.
Who are they?
Call me.
Call the names.
Yeah, Butterfield. Yeah.
So why should I choose your place of business other than that? They all have the same products, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why should I choose your?
Well, but if you check our reputation, we are number one. We're the best. So don't forget.
Another thing is, right, I'm just gonna drop. Because I know this class is like 2.5 hours, so nobody can be dropping asleep on me. So just be prepared to sell your bank or sell your company or sell your something. You can sell something today. You can sell something today, all right? why should I, you are BOB? Why should I choose BOB over RBC?
Well, first of all, we could come in and deposit to anyone's account.
RBC.
We can deposit.
You're an RBC too? Wow, you're an RBC heavy in here. Nobody from Scotia? No? All right. I got hold of Fort Scotia there. You're where? Winterwater. But don't be shy. You're Commonwealth. All right, you're sorry.
Banco Santander.
Banco Santander. So y'all are competitors. All right, you left up with y'all like that?
I work for an offshore family business.
I got you. And RBC, right?
No, I don't
No.
work at RBC anymore.
Okay, you're where?
I'm at Fidelity.
Oh, for that, good. We're good for you. I got you. All right. Well, I used to work at Fidelity, so I gotta,
Well, I'm very recent, so I don't know.
Oh, you don't even
Yeah,
get that?
yeah.
Well, I can't even say, hey, on, damn. Scotiabank's the way, though. I don't care what they say. Scotiabank is the way, right? So, why should I go to Fidelity? Well, you're still new, but you ought to be able to sell Fidelity. What do you do at Fidelity?
I am the senior PFR and business development manager.
PFR and Business Development Manager. What is that?
When I say new, like Monday new.
Monday gone?
Yeah, like
Monday I saw it in the papers,
Yeah. Like Monday new.
Yes, okay. So you don't even know what you do yet.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yet, so,
No
but-
problem. No problem. I got you. So why should I go to RBC? Why should I go to RBC? And all RBC doing now. Why should I go to RBC? But yeah, go on with RBC.
We have a known history of it. We've been in the Bahamas for 100 years. We have excellent customer service. Contrary every business has its few bad nuggets, but contrary to the few bad nuggets, RBC has excellent customer service. We have excellent service and excellent products. So why would you want to fight with anyone else?
So hold on. What are you at RBC? The one officer. Why you going so quiet when you said? One officer. What's your rate for personal loan?
Well, unsecured. Right now, we can't pay you again, so it's not.
12%. What's Fidelity's rate?
Oh, you don't
Why you know that? What's RBC's rate? I mean, what's Commonwealth's rate?
We want 19, 20.
You ain't sure? You ain't sure?
17 or 18.
Y'all 18? You're
18 no more?
What is it?
You get 160.
16. 12, 16. What's Scotia's rate?
11.998.
You don't go 0.99. We don't go round figures, right? What's Scotia's rate? Not this, no, consumer loans, the same one, personal loan. You're not sure though? Okay. What's POB's rate? POB still, y'all give loans? That might not give loans. What do you do at POB?
Client relationship officer.
Client relationship officer, so that's a big word for, you open accounts of that?
Yeah, we work in private banking.
Okay, cool. So as a relationship officer, and banks often say this is your relationship officer, but they don't like to maintain relationships. Because after you open your account, that's it. That they don't follow up. So the thing is, what I'm saying is that as a PBO, you only use PBO, as a senior account manager, as a lender, you ought to know what your rates are at each of your competitors. Let's try, what's your savings account?
Interest?
Interest.
0.05.
0.05. Not even that. Yes.
Yeah, Finco.
Finco for
Savings.
What's your rate?
Right round.
Right round, yeah.
0.5.
Right round, yeah. You don't even know yet.
No, I think Fidelity is like 1.75.
Yeah, but then you ain't
For
go
how
back.
much?
Fidelity is like 1.75, right?
No, I think the average is 1.75.
Who's your biggest competitor now?
1.25.
RBC?
No, I mean banks.
Credit union.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's the credit union's rate?
Like
3.25,
Yeah, 3 to 5%.
Yeah.
Why should I not go to them? I mean, why should I come to RBC?
It has to go down, because other than that, you're kicking the can down the road. And all governments have to borrow money. Don't get own
Yeah.
power,
Yeah.
all right? So you have to, number one, control the spending,
Itching.
and you have to get the debt down. Now, if you do this thing properly, there is the possibility that VAT in fact could decrease.
I remember what happened. You look at
And then
remember
what goes up,
what happened.
never really goes up. So I really
The purpose of that from 7.5 was the same thing. It's not the collecting of it, it's what you doing with it.
Right.
Income tax is tax. It's what you do with the tax. So it isn't the purpose of it. The purpose is from the 7.5 for where the money going. I mean, hopefully
It was
this
so much money
time,
when it was 7.5 now.
you know, it goes somewhere, but it's not, like I said, the purpose is what you do with the money. Income tax still is the tax to the people what's supposed to go towards debt or roads or
But if you
whatever.
if you have income tax, and if you have VAT, if you got a thief, it don't make a difference what you're being charged on, your money is gone anyway.
That's what they're saying. The two of them is the same thing. But how is VAT different? VAT is different because it's one flat tax against anybody, no matter what you make in. And I don't think that's kind of fair to some people but don't make that much money because the food store is the same.
I guess
My
I'm
thought, go ahead.
I'm more or less not considered or more soft-hearted towards those persons, because those are persons in the bank more getting loans than
Then
the
the ones
persons
with
with
money.
the
Yeah,
higher
because-
salary.
Yeah.
But they're being afforded the loan.
Yeah.
They're getting the loan when they're supposed to be getting the loan.
And your salary is like.
So that's probably a four-way street.
That's a four-way street.
See, my thing is this is my thought with VAT and stuff like that. I'm thinking VAT versus income tax. Income tax, everybody get taxed, right? No matter what bracket you're in, you get taxed.
Yeah.
My thing with VAT is that VAT is consumer tax. I could gauge that. When I say it's consumer tax, I've said it because I determine how much I'm gonna spend on that. Because I could determine I don't need to buy this with a higher VAT. With income tax, before I touch my account, that ain't gone. I mean, that's just my
So
two
that's
cents.
why when you have your
Got it.
returns and you put everything
But then
in, you have
that's it.
deductions
What
and
I
stuff.
don't like about
At the end of the year, you get
How
some
many,
money
how much
back.
people you know girls is really do them returns?
If you
and
want
get
your money
them
back, you'll do it.
You-
If you want your money back, you'll do it. If they keep 20% of your salary and you guarantee, you know.
And you guarantee you buy
and
something.
you 10% or what, 15%, see if you wouldn't do it.
So
You do
income
it.
tax, so no increase in corporate tax, no?
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Gotta be across the board. We can have only
Yeah, they
5%
definitely
VAT,
incorporate them.
income tax, and corporate taxes.
And then y'all pay your real property tax.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the same thing.
No, but then you can even have.
And then you can pay customs when you come through. Stop telling customs. Stop telling customs you no, not now. You're spending $4.99. You know, for years we've been telling, it's so bad.
I don't pay like.
And this thing's recording. It's so bad. Listen, it's so bad. It's already in our culture. No, when you come to customs, the first thing we say, 300. Before we come, when we come downstairs, right? We come down the escalator. We pick up our bags. What's our first thing we come down? You say separate receipts. You go. You put the long Walmart receipts. Forget it, got plenty paying. That's plenty. That's no. You put a long Walmart, put a long Ross, put a long JC Penney. All them thing, that's you do.
My story is be together, and I bring all this with me.
Oh wow. Then you put a dirty clothes on top of it. What's the first thing you do? And I always watch it when I go away. You go, you walk through, you stop. Because you gotta stop and you gotta gauge.
Which one?
I ain't gonna know woman. You know, it's our culture. This is what we do. We go, we don't know, we got 6, 7 bags. The pot already into this. Boss, you see everything. I can tell you to go to. He go there, 1 or 2, Now come through. They push
They know they're
the
making
trolley
money back.
way in the back
Yeah.
of the customer officer. They put the first tree on top there. They open up, and the other tree, never touch.
No.
Because then they talk to the customer officer. You go inside, you pay your little,
Yeah.
and then you.
Yeah.
And then we were round because VAT gone from 7.5 to 12. But for years, you ain't been paying the taxes will be in there.
Yeah, but more than us walking through,
Listen,
Yeah.
before the VAT had to come because you had to find money to pay the bills.
But how much revenue they get in VAT the first year? They get what, 2 or 3 triple times the amount they're expecting to get?
Yeah, y'all surprised
Where
them.
it going?
Ma'am, I wasn't. Ma'am, that's above my pay grade, ma'am.
2 or triple times the amount you expected to get. And with that expect,
They didn't know what to do with all the money. They saw
Yeah.
it.
but if you ain't going to water, it's supposed to be going to work. So.
Yeah.
we still have to get increased.
You at Carnival, right?
No, but the government didn't do carnival this
No,
year.
not this one.
No,
The last two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$6 million out of what? $650 million?
Nobody knows, but that's what. And so we have a issue with financial planning from a national level. All right, so that's why we trying to. So the difference with that is that if we train enough CFPs to train enough other people, hopefully that help to curb this new VAT that's in place. Because now you have people who help to train other people on how to find better products. Hopefully. What happened with the bottom? Right? So remember, we are selling solutions to customers' problems. They may not even be aware of the need. Oh yes, tide selling is this. You have you tell your customer, listen, if you get this, you have to get a credit card.
Yeah.
No, bundle it. No, you tell them you need this. You know your customer. You know your okay. It's like you know your customer on crack, right? You just give them a little piece of, yeah. You know they just trying to wean off of that addiction, and you tell them because you have targets to make, so you need to sell them. You need to sell enough mortgages, enough credit cards, and you realize one person in front of you, you get all of them in one place. You just sell them more than you need. They go into debt, deeper debt. You go home because your monthly targets met, but they in debt for years. At least have a heart, man.
That's true.
Go ahead. Right, they call it bundling. Or cross-selling isn't too bad because you may recognize from your interview that your customer has another need that they don't even realize they have. So you help them with that. All right? So let's see how we could kind of not do this, but actually get into cross-selling, into selling them other products that will be beneficial to them. All right? Anybody ever bought something they really didn't need? You reach them and you realize why I buy this?
Yep.
All the time, right? Or you buy this and they cook this, you have all these other parts that you really didn't need, but they make it all look good. All right? So initially they may not even be aware of the need that you identified. It is essential at the outset to estimate the buyer's aspirations. So you ought to be able to kind of gauge what they would need even before they know they need it. For instance, your customer comes inside the bank, right? They ain't got nothing. But they come in the bank, anybody after the customers get them, the channel is just up and down. All the, what you call them things? The line. You know the line? the kiosk line. That's it. Cling, cling, cling. Or they do it up and then it, damn. You get that client, you realize this child can need to go to school. 18 years down the road, this parent ain't thinking about that. All this parent thinking about is this loan right now. But what you do is, in your loan, you tack on another $50 on there. You tack it on and tell them, listen, I'm going to put this in an escrow account. So you paying your loan anyway. The best kind of money to save is money you don't even know you putting aside. Right or wrong? Yeah, you put.
Yeah.
But you know, I can't didn't know Scotia. It's the way, right? You have a, and the thing is, after you pay the first 6 months, you forget that, hold on, part of this is my savings. So after a while, when you finish your loan, you save that $200 a year, that's $1,200, $100 a month, $1,200 a year, because minimum, because that account that it's attached to is at 5%. So you have a $1,200 plus 5% interest over that 6-year period, that's over $7,000, almost $8,000, you didn't even realize you were. So you kind of sell this product to help your customer. Then you miss that extra $100 a month. Because matter of fact, when you truly consolidate, they were paying $1,200, now they're only paying $900. With that $100 extra on there. So with that $900, they're saving, and that extra thing, because you know they can bust up the extra $300 of any other. It may sound good, but you know they can bust up extra $300 on my account every month. I gotta find somebody. I just like, and 90% of Bahamians have less than $1,000 on their account. And so, as a CFP, you have to have, pardon?
You sure it's only 90?
90 have less than.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's higher than 90.
You always bought it with the bottom thicker?
I think it's higher than 90.
Money.
I think it's higher than that, yeah.
Right?
So, $11,000 in their account.
90, okay, well, let's go to 95% on
I
our
think
account.
I think that's closer.
And 1% have all of that. So, everybody else fitting that 4%. All right? So that's what we do. We have to learn how to help people manage. And we have to be able, as a CFP, you have to actually think for your customer. You have to anticipate their needs. Because they only thinking, I stress out, I come to the bank, I need a consolidation, I need it now. People is giving them their loan in 25 hours, same day. They ain't get, all they want to do is sign here, sign here, sign here, sign here. Come next week, they cost because they didn't realize they pay all this money, but then there, because all they do is sign here, sign here, sign here, sign here. Matter of fact, it's pre-market X for you. Sign here, sign here, sign here. Want a credit card? Yeah. You want to go over for the summer? Back to school. But if you are a true CFP, you understand that this is a relationship. Meaning that next year, I shouldn't be seeing you come back to me.
For everything.
To you.
For everything.
For a loan. Because I just give you put your chair in. You're just being away. Oh, use the linguistic. You sit down on after? Ah, yeah. You just been here last month. Because normally people who come for the back to school loan in September come back in December because Christmas. And then they come back in Easter because they got to go with Easter. And they got to come back in summer. So they go, or they come back in December, on early part of December to do what? Yeah, early December they do. Yeah, what y'all do?
They want to do a waiver.
Waiver. 2 months. Yeah. 2 months waiver. Man, listen, 7 o'clock in the morning and 9 long. Wrap around.
Yeah, December waivers.
It's culture. It's going to be very hard for Bahamians to deal with this credit bureau. It's going to be very hard. Especially like I'll be like, we could, and then you have to decide who you paying this month. You paying BC? Are you paying the loan? Pardon? Spoken like a true linguist, but if I children home crying, I ain't paying nobody. Y'all gotta find me.
Comfortable at home. They said about all kind of money.
And then with the bank, when you give me a mortgage, a credit card, a car loan, first person I ain't paying, okay, I'll pay to keep the roof on my head. Take the car.
But they don't even do that.
Take the car. Take the car.
They may take the credit card first because they could take the money back off the credit card.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Swipe. Go to another bank. Brand new.
Restart.
Yeah.
Reset.
Go to another bank. Brand new. When that's not working, go to the credit union. And the credit union teachers had a thing whereas you didn't even need to bring no half down. Just come and we give you $5,000. So you have to think for them. You have to put yourself in their shoes. It's decided. When I worked at Fidelity, I was in loans, back office loans, but sometimes I used to help with them writing loans. You know this 5 grown men coming out as a cry? Like grown men, snotty.
But you wanna see them walk out there.
Matter of fact, they've been in the banking hall in the front, cussing like, coming back there like a baby. And so we have to, as CFPs, we are some of the most important people who are going to be out there because we have to help people manage their money. And you have to help them manage their money. Sometimes, they don't even know what all is happening with their money, but you have to help them to gauge that, okay? It says, initially we should defend our price, indicating that the benefits of the product or service will justify acceptance. All right? So don't let them talk you down on your price. But when you believe in your product, you'll sell the product knowing it hurts now, but it'll make up later because the benefits outweigh the cost. But you have to believe that yourself. Because people can tell if you're trying to swing that. Okay? And we're in the business of swinging the body. Be here. If the product isn't good, don't sell it. I know that's rough to say, but if the product isn't good, help is your responsibility. You have just like how doctors have responsibility, nurses have responsibility. As a banker, you have a responsibility to help them make right decisions. So then that means that perchance you may not get a no, it just may be not now. You may just tell them not now. Let me help you, and you have to help to guide them. Now sometimes you get cussed out. Sometimes you get talked back to, but at the end of the day, you live with your integrity intact, knowing that you did the best for your customer. All right, and if we immediately conceal on price, any buyer will press for further price reductions to see how much further we will go. So it's giving you tips on how to sell. Here, it's saying for selling, it says if you immediately say, okay, I'll drop the price for you, they'll keep on dropping that price until you start fire sale, and they just run away with everything. All right, so it tells you that if you immediately conceal on price, any buyer will press for further price reductions to see how much further we will go. Seek to vary the benefits if the price is under pressure. So that means then, if your price is under pressure and they can't pay this, take away some of the benefits, because they don't need an extra 10 channels what they don't watch. Just go on the cable now. You don't need an extra 10 channels. You don't watch TV that much. Tell them, rather than losing your customer, take away some of the benefits. Because when you take away some of the benefits, your price will automatically drop. All right, so you will help your customer in that way, because you're still going to sell the product, maintain the relationship, but they don't get that. And say, perchance, leave the door open. Later down, when your situation gets better, then we can sell you this benefit. Some insurance agents tell you, okay, I ain't gonna sell you whole life now, because you can afford whole life now. I'll sell you term, and then you have an option to upgrade the whole life. So it's all about trying to help your customer and trying to find something that meets their needs. All right? It says conceding little by little is not negotiation. Negotiation is about both parties changing position for mutual benefit. All right? Negotiation, true negotiation, is not jimmying down the price. No, it's ensuring that at the end of the day, everybody wins. Pun not intended. All right? Ensure that both you and your customer or potential customer feel that there is a benefit from the conclusions reached, so that both parties emerge from discussions satisfied with the outcome. Emphasize the benefits to both parties and the continued relationship from a successful outcome. If agreement is not reached or the customer or potential customer requests time to consider, be aware of the value of the relationship and leave the door open for discussions to continue. Do not write a customer off if they tell you, I don't want to right now. Okay? Leave the door open for them to call you. Okay, you don't want it right now. Here's my card. Call me. Maybe 3 months down the line you may call them, but don't harass people. If they say no, they say no. No is no. All right? Because you know people in the kiosk in the mall away you, I just passed you just now. When I come back, it's still no. So they'll weigh you down until you stop. The key I learned is
a child with you. Exactly. Don't take a child with you. They make sure, especially ones who take pictures. You know the pictures, put the pictures in the cup. They take a picture, you walk in. The key is to not maintain
I can attack.
Yeah.
Don't even look at it, just walk straight. The second you miss a look,
Hey.
sir, come here.
So they done take a shot at you and don't show you.
Exactly. Let me show you something. No. All right. When you are a CFP, time management is important. Okay. Our time is a very precious commodity. We're on page 4. All right. But part 2. So is our health. All right. Let us consider what we need to achieve. We need to make the most effective use of our time to ensure that we are prioritized. In your job, they are not. And I wish to tell a certain bank that while you on your job, they are not. So when they come into your bank, they only get you understand. But you know, because ain't gonna just make me mad when they come. Let me tell you about a certain bank. I ain't gonna name right? They're famous for sitting down. They like sit down. There's certain people sitting down. Anybody say the bank before? Like,
No, and then all the lunchtime when it's the busiest, that's when everybody is on.
No, see, the thing is that when I was a teller, I was doing plenty things in my life. When I was a teller, you slept, but you know, the key is, while the customer sat in front of you, the next seller plays a sign. So, I tell you when you move, when you move, at the same time. You have negotiations. But you have to understand that the reason why you have people who will leave your bank quickly is because they feel like you don't maximize, you don't use the time. When I was a teller at another bank, the bank down there, we didn't, they took our chairs from us. Yeah. What, you mean at the same bank right here?
Yeah, they did it. They did it at
When I was a teller,
they did it at a point, but then I think they have them now. I
They
don't know.
took
They
the
did
chairs.
it before
Yeah.
Now, these people are just coming there.
Yeah, these fellas-
Yeah, they too lax.
Like, if you standing up, you feel my pain. So you can hurry serve people to get on the line.
But it's take that time.
Yes, take their time. I ain't call no names. Just take their time. You don't care. You don't care how long. You can cuss, you can carry on, you can suck your teeth, and they look right through you.
They take extra long.
They look right through you. A certain bank. I ain't call no names.
I don't know what bank that is.
No, a certain bank, you know. But you must understand, to maximize our time each day, we must define our objectives, set our objectives, undertake planned activities to meet objectives, and to monitor our activity. All right? What takes up our time? Traveling to and from our place of work. Telephone calls, letter and report writing, meetings, organizational duties, customer visits, work-related reading, delegation, and monitoring. All of these stuff take up our time. All right, our daily schedule should be, this is what the book says, so please when you take your exam, this is what they can ask you to kind of memorize this. I have my own thought process concerning time, which is, I realize we cannot balance time. That's a misnomer, because somebody can cut it. The key is prioritize. The key is prioritize, and you have to know yourself. When you talk about time management, you have to know yourself. If you know you're not a morning person, that's when you do your work. Cause you ain't in the mood to talk to nobody. So you could get your work done. You could throw your earphone on your head, cause you don't talk to nobody anyway. Throw your earphone on your head, ears, and just do all your work. So that by 11 o'clock, then you could go and talk. That's just like me. I am not really a morning person. So I still sleep till 11. When 11 o'clock comes and I yawn, I could. But that only lasts till about 4, because at 4 o'clock, time to go home. So you have to know your peaks and you have to know your value. You have to know you. You have to know what works for you. You have to know if you're a night person, that's the best time to do your work. If you don't go to bed till 3 o'clock in the night anyway, that's the best time to do your work when everybody else is already gone to sleep and you do that work. Because you know if you up till 3 o'clock in the morning, you will not be your most productive 7 o'clock in the morning because you're still tired. So you have to know your schedule. Everybody here knows how they flow. Everybody knows that for some of y'all 8 o'clock, y'all then
Catch me in the middle of the day.
yeah.
Morning or night.
Because you don't do nights.
Well, I
You
don't
sleep.
really, yeah, I don't stay up, but in the
Okay,
morning,
you
I
sleep.
don't get up.
Anybody else? Anybody else
I'm not
sleep?
one.
Anybody else up all night?
No, I don't
Yeah.
get, I haven't.
Up all night. That's the kind of thing. Up all night because you ready to go. But then when morning come, you don't want to talk to nobody. You get your workout because you really ain't on nobody run. Like you said, when the sun up, that's when you up. 12 midday, you're your brightest. You have to know when you're doing the time, your work dynamics. Because when you're in one person, you really don't want chipper people coming around you. Good morning. You what happened to you? Why? Why? I sit around the coffee pot just. You ran your good morning.
There is someone in my office just like that. She comes in sometimes, and I'm saying, Jesus.
Don't forget on your camera, make sure she
I say, it's too early for you, man. It's too early for you.
Yeah, they just.
And she said, you shouldn't have said that. I'm coming just across to you.
Exactly.
But that's her. That's her.
You have to know who you. That tells you what kind of work you do. That tells you what's your peak time to work. What's your best time to meet clients, because you don't really meet clients the first thing in the morning, because then 9. So you schedule all your meetings. Afterwards, you deal with emails first thing when you come to work. That kind of stuff. You know, if every morning it takes you an hour to get to work, come a little early, come out of traffic, because time is traffic makes you mad. You don't want to deal with nobody to work. Okay, so you kind of have to know how to gauge it. All right. So making the most effective use of your time, consider physical and scheduled interruptions from colleagues. So you have to factor in people who just walk up to your desk and just sit. Pardon? Yeah, just come down. Yeah, I used to become a bank. Do I do that? Yeah, okay. I was at Brand 6.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm at the one.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm at branch of the East Bay.
East Bay. I was in an RBC. I was in a BOB. But that is he come back. And now Scotia, for real. And then I said, oh boy, that was when I was mad. Yeah, you know, you had to see, because I was getting bought there. So yeah. And that was like Central Bank. And then government. Yeah. But I spent a good time, 2 years each. And then 5 years at Fidelity, 5 years at Central Bank. So I kind of getting there. But this whole 30-year thing, I'm always like,
No one really is doing it.
the whole dynamics of this generation change. 30 years at one place, we don't pull retirement.
No.
Companies love that because they ain't got to worry about no bunch of retirement money coming out from us, because we put that much in the retirement fund anyway. You know? All right? So, factor in telephone interruptions, factor in routine and non-routine paperwork, letter writing, report writing, reading, filing, email. Identify those areas that take up major portions of your time. Maintain a log of how your time is spent. List who called, when, and why. That may be a bit much. But if you don't use your, because you know there was a generation that grew up with those black pads. You know that? My boss, pardon?
Blackberries?
No, the black legal pads. The black one. Government workers like them. The hardback ones.
Oh, you mean the journal? You mean the hard journal? I know.
Right, with the dates. With the dates. Yeah. You know, the more senior you are, the bigger your thing up. Junior man, you get a little small one. Yeah. People, I had a boss. He believed in broad forwards. He believed you write down everything you do today. What you don't cross off, you carry that on for the next day. And he's like, you gotta write it down. But I'm the kind of person. These days you have not Lotus Notes. You have Outlook. You plug the thing in your calendar 15 minutes before. Pop up. You put it in your phone. So you have to know what works for you. Some people like to write, some people don't. I write things down and I don't remember to do it. In church, I write down the whole sermon thing. I don't ever go back over that. I don't know why I do it. But it's just something to do.
Catch all the notes.
Yeah, you catch all the notes. And it's just something to do. You know, but that's just, I guess it's life.
when you write down, I think you take it in a.
Yeah.
But then I can never find the paper afterward. I can never find the paper afterward. How to become more organized. Each evening before you leave work, you should make a list of all the tasks that you would like to do on the following day. How many people did that before they left work today? You did that? You did that?
I used to do that, I think.
Yeah, and then I started, I never used to.
I said, I know, and then when I was working on it, I know I was supposed to do something. I can't remember what I was supposed to do.
So would you write it down the next day? That's why I thought you didn't do it.
So prioritize the list of following days. Start number 1 and do it until it's completed. That's what the book says. Okay. Then start task number 2. Write down the list until all the tasks on the list have been completed. Establish which tasks must be undertaken within a limited time scale. Decide which tasks can be deferred or delegated to other members of staff. The key with time is that you have to learn how to delegate. You have to learn what is important, you have to learn what is urgent, you have to learn how not to mix up the two. Okay, you have to learn that there's a 2-minute rule. I heard there's a 2-minute rule. If you're doing 2 minutes, do it now. So whatever works for you will work. Because if it just takes you sending a quick email, send it now. Stop, send it, because you will never remember to do it. So they said there's a 2-minute rule. If it takes 2 minutes to do it now. Now I'm not gonna come across if your mind is like mine, and 50 things come across my mind one time, I'm not gonna work. Because I'll never do anything, but you have to know what, like I said, you have to know what works for you. All right? Investigation, customer meeting, aid memoir. Before any meeting with a customer considering the writing of a report on customer activity, it's essential to review the areas that are to be considered. This is even more important when visiting customers' premises with a view to being shown the business in detail. So what do they call this? Walkthroughs. Anybody familiar with walkthroughs? You go to a client and you say, show me what you do. Show me the kind of business. In your walkthrough with your client, you're able to see, why are you doing this? Maybe you should do this. Maybe you shouldn't put these oranges here. Because people who buy oranges, they don't, or even with your, let's look at how food stores are. Y'all realize that food stores are systematically laid out, right? Bread always on this side, far. So, because you walk like that. You walk and then you go from bread to things that go into bread. You go from things that go into bread, then you go to washing material, then you go to dairy and that. And then, of course, when you come to the front, what you have? Things you can just pick up. Because you got your child who in the cart, who can see the little Skittles, and because they know to stop that child from crying, you can buy them the Skittles. You always get the little magazine right here. Because you can just pick up the magazine just to go. That's it. So when you go into your, say if your client is a food store, tell them you can. And knowing this, when you do your walkthrough, you can see why they're making the money. Because your food store layout the wrong way. As a mother who shops, any mothers, you know, exactly. You can close your eyes and walk right through City Market right now. You know. And you know whenever you forget something, you always show up at the right time to pick it up because they laid it out in a certain way. So you know, tell your client, listen, put all your sweets right to the cash register. Because you got people, no wonder these wasn't selling because you got them in the wrong place. You have to think for your client. You have to think for your customer. And so it's important if you have a business to every now and then do a walkthrough. Because you can tell more stuff on a walkthrough than you can tell on paper. You could tell the reason why y'all ain't doing productivity is because these fellas just say they clocking in now, and they just clock in, work 2 hours, and leave. But you'll never do that because you don't do no walkthrough. So you are, as a CFP, you're responsible for walking through your client and to see exactly how their life is set up. So it's more, like I said, it's more than just numbers. You have to know your client and know the way they think. You have to know their thought processes. You have to know what they spend time on. You have to know who is important in their life. You have to know if you have a client who is a fellow who like the ball girls. You gotta know. You gotta put them on a budget. You got $50 to spend. Wicked. You can't go to Bond this weekend. Carry the Via, carry one little cranberry juice, because you can't even afford rum. Cranberry juice. But you gotta, this is what you gotta do. If you know your client have certain vices, you got this much. You got this have to go to this account. You can't even know what this account is, but you have to know if your client is a giver. Like some people naturally just like give. So you know your client could be broke. So with your client being broke, you gotta know you can't let them have all the money. You gotta know this is your allowance for the week. Yeah. Now your client has to be able to trust you. So you have to build this trust over time. You can't just go to the client tomorrow and say, listen, I gotta take your whole salary and you don't get nothing, you have to that ain't gonna work. They can fire you. But if you build a relationship, then they'll be able to trust you. So a lot of your relationship is based on trust. All right, blind trust. So number 3 talks about investigation questionnaire for use in company situations. You have to know all these things: history of the business organization, the selling product, the production, the purchasing, the premises, machinery, transport management, other employees, accounting, organization. You have to know all these things. The future. Why is it important to know the future of your company? To know how to adequately plan and to tell them, listen, you better put some money on the side for this, because if in 10 years you want 100 grand, you need to know, you need to save 10 grand a year. You need to know how to do this and how to cut back. All right, let's go on. Report writing. If there's a need to write a report on the business, then the following structure should ensure that all the relevant areas are covered. And you're going to follow that, okay? So this is essentially telling you, this is giving you a framework on how to write business reports. This is how, when you become a CFP, you get on a little side hustle, you tell people, you do your little business card, write your little CFP afterward, tell them you do business reports. Small business consultation, that's what we call it. Small business consultation. When you write your small business consultation, you just take the same thing right here, and you plug in the figures. They pay you 500 grand. Small things, because you just take this little. And when you go sit down, you act like, you deep. You get your laptop. They don't know on your laptop, but you just look into it like, so half the facilities been observed. You right there. You take a week, you take a Saturday, you do a walk through their premises, and all of this gives you step by step on how to build a business plan, or how to build. You know how much people paying for business plans? Minimum 500. You could be even drop one $1,000 price there. But this is all the information you need to fill out. Requirements, it tells you the amount. This is page 7. The purpose, why is the borrowing required? The term, ability to repay and source the repayment. Budgets and cash flow forecast. Security available, offered, or held by bank lender. You have to know all this stuff. You have to know, for instance, for James the grocer, he may say he makes this amount of money, but you have to also factor in what he didn't tell you. So for instance, I think the government had this row when they first came in, when this last administration came in, they had this row because one administration said, we told y'all this all our bills here, this is what we owe. Y'all can't see the black and white, this is what we owe. The accountant comes on the scene and say, y'all owe $300 million more than this. How is that possible? What did the accountant factor in that regular persons who see black and white didn't factor in? This is a question you can answer. Anybody? Interest due, accounts payable. Anybody familiar with off-balance sheet items? Yeah. Off-balance sheet items are what?
Could be like legal things.
Right. It could be promises to pay in the future. So while you may just be saying for this year we only get $400 million, you don't factor in the other $300 million you have to pay in 5 years. Because well, you're gonna pay it, right? I do this in another class I teach here. Your bank, you would say I get paid $1,500 a month. Banks can't, okay. Yeah, let me do that. Banks can't factor that in because though you get paid this at the end of June, that looks good on your salary, on your payslip. It always looks good when that hit your account. Sometimes I say, you know what? I can go to the bank tomorrow because I just want my account to feel how I feel. Just let it settle there just a little bit. Let it settle, let it soak. You know, let it soak a little bit. Because you know, BGC, Alive, cable, water, everybody rent.
Yes.
Shucks, and then the gas. This cooking gas.
Not a month. Not a month. That's a week.
That's a week.
I just buy because I thought $45. My wife is driving one little Nissan Sylphy, right? She's driving. I used to put 40 in that thing just swing. Woo! Straight line. I put that in my Jeep. That thing just. You understand? So gas for me is $90 a week, right? $90 a week times 4 is true. Go and find like the Jeep. 360. So that's gas. That's just gas. Trying to get it clean. That's $60 a month.
But you're not talking groceries though. Yeah. You gotta eat.
I'm buying lunch here.
You don't treat your wife to that yet.
Yeah.
You got an overdraft facility.
Okay. I ain't cut my hair yet.
But you don't got a lot of money left. That's supposed to money.
He's swiping at this point.
I'm buying Starbucks here. And Starbucks, you need a little sugar in your blood, you know?
Entertainment, you know.
Entertainment, movies and stuff.
Wife on a date.
Yeah.
Date. I ain't gonna trade yet, but I got a baby coming soon.
Oh yeah, that's it.
This is people's reality.
Yeah.
And so then they got, and then homeboy them here with delinquency got double tick. I come for your car. Take the car.
I can say pay the 360.
They just start bus union. I can catch the bus. Hold on. He forget. Y'all know you go to church. Sometimes you gotta say, Jesus.
Yeah,
you understand.
You gotta understand.
Right? So you have all this. Then you gotta pay Biffs, because then I gotta get it. So you got, what did this guy's for? $4,500 now, right?
Yeah.
Ooh. Y'all is bought the entire lunch? They don't do lunch. They don't do the damn boy.
You still on camera
Remember when we used to come here? Yeah, things smashed. Now got the glass 2.5. Right? So all this you have to factor in. So people gotta go and they gotta get credit card. But and then you have to decide whether I paying this much, or as payments often do, put something on it. Put something. Because why? I gotta keep it now under. Otherwise, you get cut. You all know. Y'all understand this sticker, right? So. Yeah. And then you gotta screw. And then people outside entertain. I don't know how people get entertained. Like how you go.
They're gonna do that.
There you go. You understand. You gotta understand. I catch up next month. Now you realize you never catch up.
Living your best life, or
you know. So that's essentially what it is. It talks about in this also. You have telephone techniques. You have to understand when you're answering the phone, people can hear you smiling.
Yeah.
They can hear you smiling. They can, please answer the phone after one ring. No, after one ring. First of all, I ain't your phone to look at the number. So you, whoever called you, whoever called you, that answer. You know? So qualities require empathy, projection. You have to project your voice. You're in home, you can't use your bedroom voice.
But we live in an office with a lot of people around.
Yeah, but okay, project it enough so they can hear. Don't try to go bedroom voice on the phone, unless you're working with that kind of place.
I was on the phone to voicemail to somebody who can never call you back.
When
You got enough and keep up.
When I worked at Fidelity, oh, you mean us? Oh, damn. When I worked at Treasury, when I worked at Treasury, it was the 07 election.
No, 07.
07. That's when I was in Treasury, 07, 06, 07. Because they had just changed. When did I came back about? 07.
Yeah, they were.
07, because they lost 02 and they came back in 07.
And then they lost again.
That was the time, that was the day after the election, man. Nobody been awake. People it was scanty, but whenever the phone rang, you literally had to run from here to say how far that was. Say from here to the front. Because the new prime minister, they need to call on names. But we all know, you know, run a tight ship. Yeah, when he called, you better answer the phone on the first ring. Because the man said he don't hear, no voicemail. So you had to be running all across the place, trying to, the treasurer herself had to get up and answer phone because they had to make sure. But that kind of culture don't work for certain people.
Don't do RBC like that.
But you, that answer for them.
They return calls though.
They return calls. How long?
I return calls within 2 hours.
Within two, yeah, I get. Y'all even have voicemails. I'll call you back. The voicemail?
Yeah, they say they don't have phones.
So they're so brassy. They say, "Hi, we'll be returning your call within the next 2 hours." But I need my call. I need my because nothing makes you madder than when you're away at Walmart.
That's why you have to call.
I don't know. I need to know why it's spiked and ain't coming through.
The advice center is called.
But now, I talk about when you couldn't go through. And you stand up to Walmart, but your trolley full. And you gotta tell people to go around. Go around, you know? But you have to understand that all of this is a part of it. Cheerfulness. You have to use imagination. That's what people say. Sincerity, patience, business sense, effervescence factor, the smile factor, like I said. Why do you use the smile factor for telephone? Because people could hear you smiling, right? You could read through all those kind of stuff. And this is where I promised that we would end, and this is where we end. Interview techniques, page 11 is where we'll start off next week. We'll start off on page 11 next week. Oh, that's right on time. So, when you are a CFP, you have to be you have to be like what a mother is to us. You gotta be the police, because you gotta lock them up in financial jail because they can't manage their money. You gotta be their counselor to tell them you cannot spend this $50 because she left you. You can't drink yourself tonight. You can't spend $200 on liquor tonight because she left you. Suck it up or cry, but don't spend the money. You have to know summer coming, you cannot go on that trip. Okay, I know you used to go off for 2 weeks, but this year, you gotta go for a week. See? But he could be the same when they call you and say, "Miss, you don't pay your
bring that money."
I hear come and people just jumping. There was a story. I know this is a true story because I heard this while I was working there. Fella pull up on the light. The collections officer pull up behind him, just randomly. And I realized, hold on. This fella trying to get from the dime. He jumped in his car. Take the man car off in the light.
Oh, Jesus.
What you mean take it off the light?
Like he park his car, tell him I come. This is our car.
How you getting your this car?
Knock on the door.
And I said no.
That's I heard there was another thing, let y'all go now. The fella had a boat. They're gonna repossess the boat. The fella see them coming, so he untied the boat. And the boat, no, he let the boat come and drive off. So, my boy come my bank, he take off his jacket. Because I gotta make that report when I go home, when I go back to work. I gotta make sure that the boat come back with me. Alright? So I'll see y'all next week. Just read, you can start reading over from page 11. And refresh yourself over the week up to today, pages 1 to 10. And then we'll continue with page 11 next week. If you need to reach me, if you can't reach RBC, and you need a bank of choice, you need a bank of choice.
Will you be at this job?
Pardon? Definitely! I'm in compliance. Who's the last one to go? How many years you been there now? I just reached there in January. So you got 4 more years. You can reach me there. I'll be happy to answer any questions concerning this. Okay? That is all. I'll see you all next week. Everybody got this, right? To do your mock.
Yeah.
I can take one of this. Oh, you mean we got it by email?
Yeah. For the picture.
Was there a final sheet?
Yeah, what's it?
Somebody has a sign sheet? No.
I think they put it in the front.
You found it?
It was right in the front there.
Is that in the front?
No,
I know I was looking at it. Oh, it's the same reason why I don't write things in life. I think Miguel came in after or before. Let me check the front.
yeah. I thought it was right here.
They said you pick it up. So you put it on. Nobody was there.
Sign sheet.
Yeah, it was over there.
Yeah, it was right. Yeah, it was
I
right.
put it right there, but they say you pick it up. We just look again. I know.
Next time we'll have to do anything.
Make sure I ain't got nothing.
I'll sign it after. Maybe that's my email.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, we'll sign it next week, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good night.
Okay, good night. I'm almost sure.
All right.
Alrighty.
Take care.
Take care. Oh, Celia.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
No problem.